The immense council chamber on Nexus Station fell silent. Ambassador Kalen Vance stood from his seat, a quiet storm brewing in his eyes. The blue-skinned Trell and the tall, insect-like Vexery stopped their whispers. Even the floating gas creatures in the corner, usually a kaleidoscope of shifting hues, pulsed a single, alarming red. Something in the human's face demanded their attention. Vance was weary. For 5 long years, he'd sat at this very table, enduring the Galactic Council's dismissive tones. Each condescending glance, every patronizing word, had chipped away at his patience, like water eroding rock. He remembered vividly the day Speaker Valerius, the purple-scaled Trell, had scoffed when Vance presented Earth's latest scientific breakthroughs, dismissing them as quaint human tinkerings, best kept under Council supervision. That memory, a constant ache, now sharpened into a furious resolve. Today, Vance's voice was calm, yet it sliced through the silence, was the last straw. I have heard enough. His gray hair and lined face spoke of 58 years, 20 of them dedicated to getting humanity recognized as intellectual equals. Earth and all human research enclaves are officially withdrawing from these talks, he declared. Speaker Valerius, a tall Trell with 4 arms, let out a sound that might have been a laugh. Ambassador Vance, please sit down. We all get frustrated sometimes with the complexities of galactic knowledge. Vance didn't sit. Instead, he reached for the data tablet Valerius had carelessly left open on the table. He'd noticed it earlier, a flicker of unsettling schematics on the screen. Now, the display showed secret protocols to confiscate human research data and impose full intellectual blockades on 3 key human research stations, citing unauthorized theoretical exploration. The document bore the Council's official seal. This doesn't look like frustration to me, Speaker Valerius, Vance said, pushing the tablet across the table. His voice held a cold, sharp edge. This looks like you plan to steal our knowledge and stifle our minds, while pretending to be our mentors. The other 6 council members exchanged surprised, angry glances. This document was never meant for human eyes. Valerius's scales darkened to a deeper purple, a clear sign of acute embarrassment in his species. That is simply a planning exercise, Valerius stammered. We consider many possible futures, especially regarding the responsible handling of potentially dangerous knowledge. Alara Vance, the second human ambassador, rose to stand beside Kalen. Her young face was tight with anger, but her voice remained professional. Including futures where you break our treaties and seize our discoveries? After we shared our algorithms that optimized the Vexery Hive's crop yields last cycle, saving millions from famine? The large gray alien, Grand Matron Zephyra, waved one of her 6 tentacles dismissively. Your algorithms were crude. Without our foundational data, your species would still be struggling with basic arithmetic, let alone advanced theoretical physics. Kalen Vance leaned forward, his gaze sweeping over each alien representative. We've been patient. We've been respectful. For 20 years, humanity has asked for intellectual autonomy. For 20 years, you've found reasons to delay, to categorize our research as forbidden or premature. Humanity will no longer wait for your approval. Effective immediately, Earth withdraws from all knowledge-sharing agreements with the Galactic Council. The room erupted in noise. Some council members shouted questions. Others demanded humans couldn't legally withdraw from knowledge pacts. The floating gas beings turned bright red with alarm. Vance raised a hand, and the 5 other human representatives stood, calmly packing their research materials, as if this moment had been rehearsed countless times. You need us. The insect-like Hive Lord Ktor clicked through his translator. Your nascent understanding of the universe relies on our established doctrines. The cosmos is dangerous for a young species to explore without guidance. Ambassador Vance smiled faintly. We have learned much from our time with the Council. Perhaps more than you realize. Alara handed him a small device. He pressed it, and suddenly, all the screens in the room went dark. When they flickered back on seconds later, all data regarding Earth's scientific contributions and research schematics had been wiped from the Council databases. We will safeguard what is ours, Vance stated. If the Council wishes to establish new intellectual relations with humanity in the future, as equals, you may contact us. Until then, all knowledge channels are closed. The human delegation walked out in perfect order. As the doors closed behind them, the Council members looked at each other in confusion. Most seemed annoyed, a few worried. They'll come crawling back when their limited minds realize they can't progress without us, Grand Matron Zephyra said confidently, her tentacles twitching. Only Senator Orion, the youngest council member, looked truly concerned, his blue skin pale. I'm not so sure, he said quietly. I think we may have made a terrible mistake. Outside the council chamber, Ambassador Kalen Vance took a deep breath. After 2 decades of forced smiles and cautious words, it felt good to finally speak the truth. Send the signal to Earth, he told Alara. It's time for Plan Omega. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, the underground meeting room in Geneva was packed. Military leaders sat beside scientists and business owners, all quiet, waiting for news. Admiral Lyra Thorne stood at the front, her uniform perfect, her short gray hair immaculately styled. On the large screen behind her, a countdown timer showed 3 minutes remaining. Ambassador Vance and the delegation have just left Nexus Station, she announced. Plan Omega is now active. Whispers filled the room. Some looked worried, others excited. Humanity had prepared for this day for 10 years, honing secret research and developing technologies independently. Now that it was here, even the bravest felt a tremor of nervousness. The door opened, and Dr. Eris Thorne, head scientist for Earth's clandestine theoretical physics program, rushed in. His white lab coat bore fresh coffee stains, and his wild brown hair suggested many sleepless nights. Sorry I'm late, he puffed, taking a seat next to General Theron Ricks. We just finished the final tests on the reality-shifting matrices. The general, a large man with dark, observant eyes, nodded. Did they work? Dr. Eris Thorne grinned, a wide, triumphant smile. Better than we hoped. The new matrices can temporarily alter local causality, making us effectively invisible and undetectable to any known council sensor for short bursts. In our data encryption, we made a breakthrough last month. We can hide entire knowledge networks within our solar system without a trace. The timer on the screen reached 0. A new image appeared. Ambassador Vance, now on his ship heading back to Earth. The council reacted exactly as we expected, Vance said to the room. They think we'll come crawling back within weeks, begging for their guidance once our intellectual well runs dry. Admiral Thorne stepped forward. Then we proceed as planned. All research vessels begin Operation Silent Deployment. Around Earth, in secret orbital facilities cleverly disguised as asteroid mining outposts, specialized research vessels moved with silent urgency. Scientists packed encrypted data cores and prototype devices into secure containers. Research outposts on Mars and Europa, dormant for years, activated quantum entanglement communication arrays that had been hidden from council observers. In her Arizona lab, Dr. Lena Soto watched her team install new cognitive interface systems on dedicated data analysis ships. These systems, based on council designs but with human improvements, allowed for 30% faster data processing and much harder neural tracing. Will 24 hours be enough time to finalize all the deployments? Her assistant asked, wiping sweat from his brow. Dr. Soto nodded. It has to be. The council will notice something's wrong in about 36 hours, when their regular data feeds from our supervised research facilities don't arrive. In Earth orbit, Captain Jax Corvus received new orders on his stealth vessel, the Seeker. He read them twice to ensure he understood. Navigation, set course for the Proxima Centauri data vault, he told his crew. We need to secure that ancient human knowledge before the council realizes what's happening. His second-in-command, Captain Lena Voss, looked concerned. The Proxima Centauri vault? That's far beyond our normal exploratory range. Not anymore, Captain Corvus said, a determined glint in his eye. Our mission just got bigger. We need to bring all human knowledge, discovered and inherited, under our protection, now that the Council won't be guiding us. In New York, the United Nations held an emergency meeting. President Evelyn Reed explained the situation to world leaders. For too long, the Galactic Council has treated our intellectual curiosity as a danger, she said. They've taken our theories, repurposed our discoveries, and then restricted our access to the very truths we uncovered. Today, we reclaim our intellectual independence. Some leaders looked afraid. What if they try to suppress us by force? Asked one. General Ricks stood up. We've been preparing our defenses for years. The Council doesn't know what we're capable of because we've never shown them our true strength. Our new reality-shifting matrices can turn entire planetary research hubs into temporal blind spots. In hidden labs and remote outposts throughout the solar system, humans received new instructions. Research teams changed focus. Hidden energy conduits came online. Encrypted messages spread from Earth to the farthest human settlements. Stand ready. Protect what is ours. Knowledge is coming. Back in Geneva, Admiral Thorne looked at the holographic star map showing all human research territories. Phase 1 is underway, she said to her team. We have 6 months before the Council realizes what they've truly lost, the leading edge of innovation. Dr. Eris Thorne looked up from his computer. What about the synthesized cognition modules the Council depends on? Those are based on our unique neural network designs. Admiral Thorne's face was serious. That's the point, Doctor. Sometimes people only value what they no longer have. On Nexus Prime, the Grand Council chamber looked even bigger than usual. 5 of the 7 council members sat at their high seats. 2 remained empty, awaiting others. This is a waste of time, Grand Matron Zephyr grumbled, her gray tentacles twitching with irritation. The humans will return soon enough, begging for access to our knowledge archives. Why call an emergency meeting? Senator Orion, the youngest council member, looked worried, his blue skin unusually pale. It has been 2 weeks. Not a single human data packet has been received at any council research hub or knowledge gate. The large doors opened, and Speaker Valerius entered with Hive Lord Ktor. They took their seats. Let us begin, Valerius said, his purple scale shimmering. The humans have completely withdrawn from council knowledge networks. All communication channels are closed. Hive Lord Ktor clicked his mandibles together, a sign of annoyance in his insect-like species. They are acting like rebellious children. We should teach them a lesson about the dangers of unsupervised inquiry. What do you suggest? Asked Senator Orion. We send knowledge suppression fleets to Earth, Hive Lord Ktor declared. For what purpose? Grand Matron Zephyr countered. They have broken no laws, merely ceased participation. Their established theoretical agreements must be honored, she added, her tentacles flaring slightly. My people rely on their specific orbital mechanics theories for our asteroid redirection projects. Valerius raised 2 of his 4 hands for silence. I propose we freeze all human-derived data within Council archives. We will also restrict their access to critical quantum communication nodes. When they cannot share or receive the broader galactic knowledge, they will quickly understand their mistake. The vote was quick. 6 council members agreed immediately. Only Senator Orion hesitated before adding his vote. It is decided, Valerius announced. The humans will learn that they cannot progress without the Council's guidance in the carefully curated flow of information. Across the galaxy, on thousands of worlds, the news about humans spread quickly. Some found it amusing that such a young species would challenge the Council's intellectual authority. Others simply didn't care. Human theories were not considered important in the grand picture of galactic knowledge. In a small bar on Nexus Prime, a news screen showed images of human researchers packing up their embassy's data servers. Good riddance, a merchant Zorg grumbled to his drinking partner, Scholar Fendrel. Those humans never respected our established academic disciplines. Always questioning fundamental truths, always wanting to reevaluate settled science. Scholar Fendrel, a Trotwer with 4 eyes and green skin, nodded. They'll be back. Where else can they disseminate their findings? Who else will validate their radical theories? At the Council Military Command, General Forlag reviewed the latest reports. The large red alien had fought in 3 galactic wars and respected only tangible power. Have the humans moved their research fleet? He asked his assistant. No, General. Their ships remain within their solar system, but they've gone silent. No data transmissions, no response to intellectual hails. Forlag made a rumbling sound in his chest. Keep watching them. I do not trust this sudden withdrawal from the knowledge network. In the Council Economic Ministry, reports began to trickle in about minor problems. Breakthroughs in astrobotany, exclusive to human bioresearch, were no longer available. Some complex engineering projects were delayed because specific human-developed material synthesis protocols hadn't arrived. 3 holographic entertainment companies canceled new shows because the human creative AI programmers had returned to Earth. Minister Silos dismissed these concerns with a wave of his tentacle. Temporary adjustments, he told his staff. Find replacements, prioritize approved methodologies. 2 weeks became 4, then 6. The Council expected to hear from Earth any day, humans begging for access to galactic data streams. But no messages came. In the private chambers of the Council, Valerius met with the other leaders. Perhaps we should send an intellectual envoy to Earth, Senator Orion suggested, to open a dialogue about shared research paths. Grand Matron Zephyr laughed, a bubbling sound that echoed in the room. And appear weak? Never. They will contact us first, once their limited data pools are exhausted. And if they don't, Senator Orion pressed, then they will suffer the consequences of their intellectual pride, Valerius said, his eyes narrowed. A species as young as humanity cannot progress long in this galaxy without our established protocols and the careful curation of cosmic truth. It is simply a matter of time. As they spoke, a junior aide entered and handed Hive Lord Ktor a report. The insect-like alien read it quickly, his compound eyes widening. We have received alarming data from the fringe systems near human space, he said slowly. The Promaxian raiders have somehow acquired encrypted council data and used it to bypass our defense protocols, attacking one of our deep space knowledge repositories. The station was breached, vital data was compromised. How could they access our encrypted data? Demanded Valerius. Our protocols are inviolable. Hive Lord Ktor looked up from the report. That sector's encryption keys were based on a human-developed neural algorithm we had deemed too risky for full integration, but adapted for minor systems. It seems the raiders found a backdoor we overlooked. The emergency alarms woke General Forlag from his sleep cycle. He rushed to the command center of the Council Defense Station. The large screen showed a red alert near the border of what used to be human-influenced space. Report, he demanded. His second-in-command, a blue-skinned VLR, looked worried. 3 more Council data outposts have been breached by Promaxian raiders, sir. All in the same sector. Critical information compromised, 42 modules stolen, 17 encryption keys breached. All resource information containers raided. Forlag growled, showing his sharp teeth. Where are our cyber defense fleets? We sent a response team, but they arrived too late again. VLR pulled up a map on the main screen. The raiders are hitting targets here, and here, all places where human-designed intellectual firewalls used to guard our interests. It had been 3 months since the humans withdrew from the Council. At first, the Council thought it was a small problem that would fix itself. Now, they weren't so sure. Send a message to Earth, Forlag ordered. Demand they explain their absence from our shared defense protocols. An hour later, VLR returned with a simple message. The screen showed only text, intellectual channels closed. Human Research Force no longer provides services to the Galactic Council. In another part of Council space, Trader Lyra stood in her empty virtual store. 6 months ago, this holographic space had been full of cutting-edge human-designed software and unique cultural archives. Now, the shelves were bare. My clients are furious, she told her assistant. They want their human-derived entertainment protocols. Her assistant, a small green alien, checked his data pad. We've tried to contact Earth's creative hubs 10 times. They don't answer. Trader Lyra walked to the virtual window and looked out at the data port. Many information streams sat idle, their processors with nothing to do. Before the humans left, this port had been busy day and night. It's not just the entertainment protocols, she said quietly. Our deep learning algorithms are failing because the human-trained AIs are gone. Our universal translator networks are half empty because human linguistics experts left. On the Council homeworld of Nexus Prime, a group of prominent scholars and business leaders demanded to see the Council. After waiting 3 days, they were finally allowed into the Grand Chamber. The humans must be brought back, said Chancellor Roven, owner of the largest knowledge transfer corporation in Council space. My network's efficiency is down 60% without human conceptualizers. My research team cannot function without human theoretical physicists, added Director Zara, head of the Advanced Technology Institute. They think differently than any species we know. They find connections and solutions we would never consider, even to problems we didn't realize we had. Valerius listened with growing frustration. We've sent 6 intellectual communiques to Earth. They respond with the same automated message every time. The humans refuse to share with us. Then offer them something significant, suggested Krax. They clearly want better terms for their knowledge. Grand Matron Zephyrus' tentacles waved angrily. We do not negotiate with those who defy Council authority. The humans will return when they have learned their lesson about unchecked intellectual pursuit. As they argued, a junior member of the Council staff entered and whispered something to Senator Orion. The young Council member's blue face turned almost white. We have a new problem, Senator Orion announced to the chamber. The vital synthesized cognition modules from the human data farms did not arrive again. The room fell silent. These modules were essential for maintaining the Council's vast network of administrative and scientific AIs. Without them, core functions would begin to degrade. "How much reserve do we have?" asked Valerius, his voice strained. "At current usage rates, less than 6 months," Senator Orion said. "We need to find a new source or a new method for AI maintenance." In a secure room deep inside Council headquarters, the 7 Council members met in private. The mood was tense. "We may have underestimated the humans' intellectual self-sufficiency," admitted Hive Lord Ktor. "They are not returning as we predicted." "It's impossible," insisted Grand Matron Zephyra. "No species can develop such diverse intellectual breakthroughs in isolation." Senator Orion looked at a data pad showing reports from across Council space. "With respect, it seems we are the ones facing intellectual and technological difficulties. Perhaps it is time to consider that we need the humans' unique insights more than they need our guidance." Valerius stared out the window at the gleaming city below. "Prepare an intellectual envoy vessel," he said finally. "We will send representatives to Earth with our terms." "Terms?" Hive Lord Ktor echoed, surprised. "Whatever it takes to bring their knowledge back into our shared galactic network," Valerius said, his voice heavy. "Within reason, of course." The Council diplomatic ship Scholar's Grace approached the edge of Earth's solar system. Captain Drax of the Arcturon fleet stood on the bridge, watching the stars. His mission was simple: convince the humans to rejoin the Council's knowledge network. "We're receiving a message from Earth Defense Command," his communication officer reported. "Play it," ordered Captain Drax. A human woman appeared on the screen. She wore a dark blue uniform with stars on the shoulders. "Council vessel, this is Admiral Lyra Thorne of Earth Defense Force. State your business." Captain Drax bowed slightly. "Admiral, I bring a message from the Galactic Council. We wish to reopen intellectual talks with Earth." Admiral Thorne's face showed no emotion. "Transmit your message. We will review it." "I am authorized to speak directly with your intellectual leaders," Drax said, trying to assert authority. "Transmit your message," Thorne repeated, her voice firm. "You are not cleared to enter Earth space. Any attempt to proceed beyond this point will be considered hostile action. Your ship's theoretical probe has already been flagged." The screen went dark. Captain Drax looked at his crew with surprise. This was not the warm welcome the Council had expected. Back on Earth, Admiral Thorne sat in the command center with Ambassador Kalen Vance and the human leadership team. They reviewed the Council's message together. "They offer us full intellectual sharing rights," Vance read from the screen, "and a 10% reduction in knowledge transfer levies." Dr. Eris Thorne laughed, a short, sharp sound. "Is that supposed to impress us? After they plan to impose thought blockades on our research stations?" "They're desperate," General Rick said, a grim smile on his face. "Look at the last part. They specifically request immediate resumption of synthesized cognition module shipments. 6 months without our modules, and their core AIs are degrading." Admiral Thorne nodded. "Just as we predicted. Their entire bureaucratic and scientific infrastructure is in crisis. Their Promaxian problem, now leveraging compromised Council data, is spiraling out of control." On the Council homeworld, Dr. Xylos presented his findings to the 7 Council members. His tentacles moved nervously as he spoke. "We have searched 17 star systems," he said. "Unconventional cognitive architecture, capable of maintaining their synthesized cognition modules, exists in only 3 locations outside human space. Then we will adapt those locations," Grand Matron Zephyra said impatiently. Dr. Xylos projected images onto the large screen. "The first location is deep within a sentient gas giant's atmosphere, requiring psychic interface technology we lack. The second is near the core of a barely stable neutron star, requiring energy containment methods we cannot replicate. The third is in a nebula composed of antimatter, requiring theoretical understanding we have deemed forbidden." Valerius leaned forward. "Your point, Doctor?" "We could theoretically adapt these locations," Dr. Xylos explained, "but the cost in resources and unorthodox intellectual inquiry would be 5 times higher than simply re-establishing human intellectual exchange. And we would need human-designed cognitive frameworks and understanding that only they possess for deep core theoretical extraction and antimatter data processing." The Council chamber grew quiet. Senator Orion finally spoke. "So, we need humans not just for their modules, but for their unique conceptual approaches and their willingness to explore what we label forbidden knowledge." "I have one more finding to report," said Dr. Xylos, his multifaceted eyes wide with a strange mix of fear and wonder. Our science team discovered something strange while studying old star maps. He showed a new image on the screen. It was Earth's solar system, but the picture was very old. This map is from our archives. It is over 10,000 years old, Dr. Xylos explained. It shows Earth marked with a special symbol. The ancient text calls it Nexus of the Progenitors. Hive Lord Chorus insect, eyes widened. What does this mean? We are still researching, Dr. Xylos said, a hint of awe in his voice. But it appears that humans may have been intellectual pioneers and star travelers long before any of our species evolved. They may have deliberately hidden their true history and their vast, dangerous knowledge from us. The council room erupted in shocked voices. In Earth orbit, the space station Ascension rotated slowly against the backdrop of the blue planet. Inside, Captain Jax Corvus met with officers from all human research outposts. The council diplomatic ship is still waiting at the edge of our system, he told the group. They've sent 3 more messages asking to speak with our leaders, now using new, desperate intellectual pleas. What are our orders? Asked Captain Lena Voss, now commander of her own stealth research vessel, the Frontier. Ambassador Kalen Vance entered the room with Admiral Lyra Thorne. We let them wait a bit longer, Vance said with a small smile. Let them see how it feels to have their intellectual inquiries ignored. Thorne activated a large star map in the center of the room. It showed human research outposts spread across space far beyond Council territory. While they've been trying to contact us, we've established 4 new research hubs outside their sensor range, she said. And our scientists have made breakthroughs in cognitive resonance technology that the Council can't even imagine. Mobile, adaptive thought fields that can process and transmit data faster than light, completely bypassing their old networks. Vance looked at the assembled officers. The question now is, what do we want from the Council? They need our minds more than we need their guidance. A young officer raised his hand. Sir, why not just leave them behind? We're making amazing discoveries on our own. Vance shook his head. Because isolation isn't our goal. Collaborative discovery is always better than working alone. But this time, we'll be partners in pursuit of truth, not subservient students. On his ship, Captain Drax received new orders from the Council. He read them with surprise. Set course for Earth, he told his crew. We have been authorized to offer them full Council membership immediately and complete intellectual autonomy. The news spread quickly across Earth and all human research enclaves. The Galactic Council had offered full membership to humanity, along with unprecedented intellectual freedom. After decades of being treated as lesser minds, humans were suddenly valued for their unique cognitive approaches. In the White House Situation Room, world leaders and military commanders gathered to discuss the offer. Admiral Thorne stood at the front, her face serious. It's a trap, said General Rix. They just want our synthesized cognition modules and our breakthrough knowledge. Once they have what they need, they'll suppress us again. Ambassador Vance shook his head. I don't think so. I've known some of these council members for 20 years. They're truly desperate. Their civilization's intellectual foundation is crumbling without our unique perspective. President Evelyn Reed, a tall woman with calm eyes, listened to everyone before speaking. What do our intelligence reports say? Dr. Lena Soto activated a screen showing council space. Their core AIs are degrading without synthesized cognition modules. 3 of their knowledge archives have reported data corruption because their established algorithms can't handle the new galactic information flow. The Promaxian raiders, now leveraging compromised council data, are attacking deeper into council intellectual networks than ever before, stealing conceptual blueprints. Perfect time to negotiate, Vance said with a small smile. Or perfect time for something else, Admiral Thorne said, her eyes glinting. She pressed a button on the table. Captain Reese Kale, report please. A new face appeared on the screen. Captain Kale had a scar across his cheek and tired eyes. Admiral, my fleet is in position near the Council homeworld. They have no idea we're here. Our new reality-shifting matrices are perfectly masking our presence. The room went silent. No one had expected this. You positioned warships near Nexus Prime? President Reed asked, her eyes wide. Without Council knowledge? Admiral Thorne nodded. Just as they positioned their thought suppression fleets near Earth many times over the years. The difference is, they know we're watching them. They just don't know how close we are, or what our true intellectual and defensive capabilities are. On the council homeworld, an emergency session was underway. All 7 council members sat at their high table, surrounded by military and scientific advisors. The humans have not responded to our offer of full membership and intellectual autonomy, Valerius said, his purple scales dulled with stress. Then we must show our strength. Hive Lord Cthor clicked his mandibles angrily. We will send the Grand Fleet to Earth. A show of force will remind them who dictates the flow of knowledge in this galaxy. Senator Orion looked horrified. Are you suggesting we threaten them with war over intellectual property? Not war, Grand Matron Zephyra insisted. Just a reminder that the Council has curated their knowledge for decades. They owe us. Despite Senator Orion's objections, the vote passed. The Council would send 60 warships to Earth, the largest fleet gathered in 50 years, primarily to deploy cognitive dampening fields and remind humans of their subordinate intellectual position. 3 days later, the massive Council fleet emerged from hyperspace near Neptune. Commander Torin of the flagship Dominance looked at the blue planet visible in the distance. Send the message to Earth, he ordered. Inform them that the Council fleet has arrived to escort their intellectual leaders to Nexus Prime for proper negotiations on the release of their forbidden data. His communication officer looked confused. Sir, I'm detecting energy readings all around us, but I don't see any ships. And our cognitive dampeners are showing interference. Suddenly, defense platforms shimmered into existence around every planet and moon in the solar system. They had been invisible until now, hidden by technology the Council had never seen before. Sir, shouted his sensor operator. Human ships are decloaking. Hundreds of them, all around the Council fleet. And their cognitive resonance is overwhelming our dampeners. Human warships, sleek and menacing, appeared from nowhere. They had been there all along, waiting and watching. A human face appeared on the main screen. It was Captain Reese Kale. Council Vessel Dominance, he said, his voice calm and firm. This is Captain Kale of Earth Defense Force. You have entered Earth space with a military fleet intending to deploy intellectual suppression. This is considered an act of aggression. Commander Torrance stood straighter. We come under Council authority to... Kale cut him off. You have 30 minutes to reverse course and leave our solar system. This is not a negotiation. Torin looked at the sensor readings again. The human ships were smaller than Council warships, but there were many more of them, and their cognitive disruption weapons were locked onto every Council vessel. They're bluffing, said his second-in-command. Humans don't have weapons that can harm our established thought patterns. As if hearing these words, a small human ship fired a single shot at an empty area of space. The energy blast was more than just destructive. It momentarily erased the very concept of space in that localized region, replacing it with pure theoretical nothingness before the void snapped back. It was a demonstration of reality-altering power that Torin had never conceived possible, let alone witnessed. It could have unraveled his flagship with one hit. Open a channel to all ships, Torin said quietly, his face grim. Order them to turn around. We're leaving. But, sir, the Council ordered. The Council doesn't know what we're facing, Torin interrupted. These are not the same humans we've dealt with before. Their knowledge has made them something entirely new. As the Council fleet turned around, Captain Kale sent one final message. Next time, inquire about new theoretical frameworks before attempting to enforce obsolete ones. It's only polite. The Council chamber was completely silent. Commander Torin had just finished his report about what happened at Earth. The 7 Council members looked shocked. They had hundreds of ships, Torin said, his voice still tinged with disbelief. All with technology and theoretical understanding we have never seen before. They could have unmade our entire fleet. Valerius's purple scales had turned almost white. Why didn't they attack? They had every advantage. The humans simply wanted us to leave, Torin replied. They showed their intellectual might, but chose not to obliterate us. After Commander Torin left, the Council members looked at each other with new understanding. The humans had never been weak-minded. They had been watching, learning, and building their intellectual and technological strength in secret, exploring forbidden paths of knowledge. We have made a terrible mistake, Senator Orion said, his blue skin pale. For 20 years, we treated their minds like those of children. All that time, they could have rendered our knowledge obsolete, but didn't. In a different part of the Council building, Dr. Xylos worked with a team of researchers. They had spent weeks studying ancient records from all 7 Council species. What they found was changing everything they thought they knew about humans. Look at this, he said to his assistant, showing an ancient stone tablet from the Arcturon homeworld. It had a drawing of tall beings that looked like humans. The writing called them the Thought Weavers. And this, he continued, displaying a very old book from Grand Matron Zephyr's people. It told stories of sky scholars who helped them comprehend a terrible cosmic event 15,000 years ago. Every council species had similar stories in their oldest records. Beings that looked like humans had visited their worlds long ago. They had helped each species understand complex phenomena or develop foundational intellectual concepts, then mysteriously disappeared. Dr. Xylos prepared his report for the council. The evidence was clear. Humans had been intellectual pioneers and cosmic explorers thousands of years before any current council species. For some reason, they had retreated to Earth and stayed there until recent times, seemingly abandoning their vast knowledge. On Earth, Dr. Eris Thorne worked in his lab deep under the Rocky Mountains. He studied the strange metal disc found 50 years ago in an ancient human city. The disc was covered with writing no one could read, but it contained conceptual schematics for manipulating space-time on a localized level, far more advanced than anything humans had developed. "Are you sure about this?" asked President Evelyn Reed, who had come to see his work personally. Dr. Eris Thorne nodded. "The disc is at least 50,000 years old. It belongs to us, to humans, but from a civilization we don't remember. And its energy signature matches ancient readings from across our galaxy, including those we picked up from Dr. Xylos's reports." Admiral Lyra Thorne joined them. "So the stories might be true. Humans had an advanced intellectual civilization, explored the stars, shared insights with other species, then something happened and we suppressed or forgot everything." "It looks that way," said Dr. Eris Thorne. "The genetic tests confirm it. We have markers in our DNA that show advanced cognitive adaptation for multidimensional thought from thousands of years ago, and even traces of an ancient, unknown language embedded in our oldest myths, a language that seems to describe universal laws." Ambassador Kalen Vance walked around the lab, looking at the ancient artifacts. "The question is, do we tell the council what we found? That we were once the galaxy's intellectual custodians, perhaps even the ones who originally deemed certain knowledge forbidden for good reason?" On the council homeworld, Valerius met with the other 6 council members in a private room. No staff or guards were allowed. They needed to make the most important decision in council history. "We cannot control the humans' knowledge," Hive Lord Ktor said, his fleet commander's report echoing in his mind. "We desperately need their cognitive modules and their new theoretical insights," Grand Matron Zephyr added. "Without it, our intellectual progress will stagnate, and our civilization will degrade." Senator Orion stood up. "I believe we must do more than just make peace with the humans. We should offer them the intellectual leadership of the council." The others looked shocked. Valerius's scales rippled with emotion. Give intellectual leadership to humans? The newest species in the galaxy? Perhaps the oldest species, Senator Orion corrected, pushing Dr. Xylos's report across the table. "Read this. All our histories tell the same story. Humans were among the stars long before us. They helped each of our species at crucial moments in our intellectual development. They are not newcomers. They are the ancient architects of galactic understanding." The council members read in silence. Their faces showed surprise, then understanding, and finally, a strange kind of relief. "If this is true," Valerius said slowly, his voice almost a whisper, "then we have not been dealing with newcomers to galactic intellectual discourse." "No," said Senator Orion. "We have been rudely dismissing the ancient scholars of the galaxy, the ones who may have helped our ancestors comprehend the cosmos." After long discussion, they reached agreement. The council would send their highest representatives to Earth with full authority to negotiate any terms. There would be no tricks this time, no secret plans, just the honest truth. The galaxy needed human minds. The grand meeting hall in Geneva was filled with people from Earth and visitors from across the galaxy. Sunlight streamed through the tall windows, reflecting off the polished wood tables. This room had seen many historic moments, but none as important as today. President Evelyn Reed sat at the center of the human delegation. Ambassador Kalen Vance was at her right, while Admiral Lyra Thorne and General Theron Rix flanked her left. Across from them sat all 7 members of the Galactic Council, looking somewhat uncomfortable in Earth's gravity. "Thank you for agreeing to meet on Earth," said President Reed, her voice calm and steady. "We appreciate the journey you've made." Valerius bowed his purple-scaled head slightly. "We come with open minds and honest intentions. The Council wishes to correct its past intellectual mistakes." For 3 days, the 2 sides talked. There were no tricks or hidden agendas this time. The Council admitted they had treated human inquiry unfairly. They offered full membership with equal intellectual rights and respect for human research territories. Ambassador Vance studied their faces as they spoke. After 20 years of dealing with the Council, he could tell they were sincere. They had finally realized that humans were not just another young species to control, but a vital and ancient source of understanding. On the final day, President Reed signed the new treaty. It was simple and fair. Earth would rejoin galactic society as a full and equal member of the Council. Human research territories would be respected. Human innovations would be shared, but with fair payment and intellectual credit. "There is one more thing," said Senator Orion, the young blue-skinned council member. "We believe the intellectual leadership of the council should rotate among all members. And we suggest that Earth take the first turn as council intellectual leader to guide us towards new truths." The room went quiet. This was unexpected. Humans had gone from being treated as intellectual children to being offered leadership of the galaxy's knowledge pursuit. President Reed looked at her advisors, then back at the council. "We appreciate the offer, but we don't seek to rule others' minds. We only want partnership and respect in the pursuit of knowledge." Grand Matron Zephyra's gray tentacles moved with surprise. "After how we treated you, you do not want revenge. Intellectual power over us?" Admiral Thorne shook her head. "That was never our goal. We withdrew from talks to protect our right to explore, not to dominate your understanding." After the council members left to prepare their ship, Ambassador Kalen Vance walked with Captain Finian Gale in the garden outside the meeting hall. Captain Gale commanded the Earth ship Curiosity, which had discovered 3 new habitable planets in their unique ecosystems during the months away from Council space. "I don't understand," said Gale. "We could have taken intellectual control of the Council. Why didn't we?" Vance watched a butterfly land on a nearby flower. "Because that's not who we are. Humans don't need to control others' minds to feel strong. We find strength in shared discovery, in mutual enlightenment." Later that evening, at the celebration dinner, Valerius approached Dr. Aristhorn. The council members seemed nervous, eager to understand. "Your research into human history," Valerius said quietly, "have you discovered why your people left the stars long ago? Why you returned to Earth and seemingly forgot your vast ancient knowledge?" Dr. Aristhorn smiled. "We have theories. Some ancient texts suggest our ancestors chose to simplify, to step back from the brink of too much forbidden knowledge. They believed advanced, unbridled intellectual exploration was making us lose something important. What could be more important than ultimate knowledge?" Valerius asked, genuinely curious. "Compassion. Creativity. The joy of simple, shared discovery," Thorne replied. "Sometimes, you need to step back from infinite data to move forward in the right way. It seems, in a way, we've come full circle to rediscover the very balance our ancestors sought." As the celebration continued, humans and aliens mixed together, sharing stories and ideas. In orbit above Earth, ships from 15 different species docked at the new International Space Station. Among them were vessels from 5 species unknown to the Council, civilizations that humans had discovered and befriended during their time away, not by force, but by sharing curiosity and mutual respect for intellectual freedom. Admiral Thorne stood with President Reed, watching the diverse crowd. "Do you think it will last, this new relationship?" President Reed nodded. "I do. The Council needed to learn that real strength isn't about controlling information or minds. It's about working together, about the unexpected wisdom that comes from humility and the boundless pursuit of shared truth." Far across the galaxy, on worlds that neither humans nor the Council had visited yet, other young species looked up at the stars. They were developing their first technologies, asking their first questions, taking their first steps towards space. When they eventually reached the stars, they would find not an empire ruled by one dominant intellect, but a community of equals, united by shared curiosity. And humans would be there to welcome them, just as they had welcomed others thousands of years ago, offering not guidance, but partnership in the endless quest for knowledge.